You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
This is East Carolina Hall of Famer and Utah Jazz first-round draft pick Blue Edwards. You're listening to Pirate Basketball Overtime on The Sports Objective, your home for the best East Carolina hoops coverage.
Put your crossbones up and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on, yeah. Welcome to the island, man, it's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank on the shark tank, traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here. Armed and ready, bang the lane, be aware, cause if the backboard break, glasses spray everywhere. We'll lighten up the scoreboard, you can with a flare, but we put it out quick.
I'll keep this simple because, again, I say this now, okay? We came here for 3 games. We didn't get it done in game 1. We found a way in game 2. Now we got another one. This is the best part about it. We get to do this again. We found ways to get better as the game went. That's got to be our MO with this program and this team. We got a chance to go 2-1 when we're here. But all that really matters, 1-0. 1-0 today, 1-0 tomorrow. 1-0 tomorrow. Bring it in. Let's go.
Man. Proud of y'all boys. Get us win.
Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome into the Pirate Basketball Overtime as Pirates get it done today over Toledo. How about that? Welcome in Kyle Barber. Kyle from LaGrange, what's up, dude?
Yeah, they burned like a rocket. Toledo coming in 26 wins last year, regular season MAC champions. I believe they were an NIT team last year. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that. Had already beaten UAB in Valparaiso.
Yep.
So huge win for the Pirates. They were number 32, just outside the top 25 receiving votes. So huge win for the Pirates.
Yeah, ranked 32nd in both the AP and coaches poll based on the number of votes they were receiving, and had 4 starters back from that 26-win team that you mentioned. And in addition to a solid start to this season and averaging a little over 90 points per game, what a win for Mike Schwartz and the Pirates.
That was a good win. I would consider. I don't know if you guys, from a talent level standpoint, I don't see what y'all think. Do y'all think Toledo's an American, a mid-tier American conference quality team?
I mean, yeah, they were. I think they have a good program, and yeah, I would say that was the team that, it's funny going into the tournament. Bubba and I were talking about that last Friday. They were the favorite to win the whole tournament, and here they are now with 2 L's in the tournament. So they've got one more game tomorrow, but. Bubba and I were talking about, we thought they would win the tournament, and they were favored to win the tournament, is my understanding.
Yeah, of course they were. I mean, based on who's in it, and them being just outside the top 25 and the wins they've already had. That was a great win. And then we'll break the game down, and we'll break down yesterday's game more. But just a quick turnaround. You got UT Arlington tomorrow, who is another decent basketball program, and then ODU Saturday. So there's a lot of. It's a good stretch here. We started off with 3 quote unquote easy opponents. The games weren't easy, but on paper they were easy opponents. Now we're playing 4 pretty good teams in a row with Indiana State, Toledo, Arlington, and Old Dominion.
And Dave, that's something that was brought up this afternoon by Jeff Charles and Mike Perry on the broadcast, and that is just how, kind of what Kyle was saying there, just the quality of the schedule and these games. And you looked at it, Toledo, everything they had done, some quality wins and scoring coming into this tournament, over 95 points per game. And they lost yesterday to Kansas City, and then today to the Pirates by 11. And what a early season win for the ball club. And I know before we really dive into today's game, we wanted to go back and quickly take a look at the Pirates' 79-75 loss yesterday to Indiana State. And the Sycamores jumped out to a 13-4 lead, and then the Pirates battled back, and it was kind of Honestly, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I don't know that we ever led in the first half, but we cut it down to 2 or 3. Is back up to 7, down to 5, back up to 9, and I think we went in down 5 at halftime, and then in the second half, with about
4, right?
8 or 8.5 minutes left, we were down by 16, which kind of mirrored those first 3 games, but less time on the clock. But to the Pirates' credit, they whittled that lead down to at least 2, maybe 3, and ended up losing by 4. And it was really the inability to guard the basketball, and then we didn't cut guys off, let them get to the cup, and then also just could not make free throws, which is something that, as we'll talk in a few minutes, that we were able to do today in the 11-point win against Toledo. But yesterday we were 24 out of 38 from the charity stripe, 14 missed free throws.
That's the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, that was definitely, nobody's saying you go 100% from the line, but 24 out of 38 is not getting it done. And I always say that's the difference between good teams and great teams is, can you shoot free throws? And I said before, it's kind of like that's like special teams for basketball, and you got to be able to make your free throws. And it's just that was, like Kyle said, the difference in the game. And you look at, we pretty much in the second half, if you look at it between the box score, we played even. We lost by 4 ultimately, but we played well in the second half. But like that was to me the one thing. But I knew Bubba would have the stat on that. That was the one thing that just keeps bothering me, is knowing that we could be 5-0. Not knocking the team; they got a great win today, but man, we were so close to 5-0. And that's one thing that'll be interesting to see moving forward, is not only the tomorrow's game and Old Dominion. That game coming up, but also the fact that we've got the conference games coming up. How well will this Pirate team do in conference play? So we've got to rack up as many wins as it can. Bubba, was it 10 non-conference games? So we're halfway through.
We have 13.
13. Okay.
Yeah, because I think we played 31 games overall in the regular season, 13 non-conference, and 18 within the American.
Yeah.
And before we want to spend the majority of our time talking about the Toledo win, but taking a look back at some of the individual scoring very quickly for that 79-75 loss against Indiana State yesterday. Javon Small, what a game for Javon! 27 points, 6 rebounds, also had a couple assists, couple steals in 35 minutes. He was 7 out of 11 from the floor, 3 out of 5 from beyond the arc, 10 out of 13 from the charity stripe. So Javon Small shot free throws very well, but many of the other guys on the team struggled. But Brandon Johnson had another double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. You had Quentin DeBunge, another solid game. He was obviously coming off that game where he scored, I believe it was either 16 or 17 against Hampton, and really helped the Pirates come back, knocking down at least a pair of threes, if not not 3 threes late in that game. And then Caleb LeCount had 13 points yesterday against the Sycamores in 19 minutes, 5 out of 10 from the floor, but just 2 out of 5 from the free throw line. And the Pirates as a team, again, 24 out of 38 from the charity stripe. They shot 22 out of 52 from the floor, 42.3%, 7 out of 22 from 3 in the 4-point loss to Indiana State.
And then you look at today's game against Toledo, and it's a close game for a long time. It was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then all of a sudden, late, the Pirates just put Toledo away. I'll tell you what, one thing I've noticed about this team so far, we play well late in games. We are really well conditioned.
We are, and you heard that from several of the guys, both members of the team and members of the team previously that opted to transfer, and that was a lot of running and certainly paying dividends, as you say. And you talk about today's game, the Pirates jumped out to a 23-10 lead, and then I think Toledo went on something like a 21-2 run and ended up I think they only led by 1 at half, but with that 21-2 run, it took a 31-25 lead. So the Pirates went from up 13 to down 6. And I think that says a lot about this team, that they responded and did what they did, not only winning the game, but winning going away, building as much as, I think, 15-point lead at 82-67 in the second half.
Yeah. The great thing about this team is the fight they have in this team. And then, guys, if you think about it, there's only 6 returning guys. And I think that you're starting to see now guys, the people were asking about, I've heard that so many times, why are we getting down every, game? But the bottom line is
You got to learn to play together.
Yeah, exactly. You got to develop chemistry. I don't care how great those players are. It's still a team sport. And so I think that's what's you're starting to see, as you see like different times in the game where there's just, wow, the shooting, everything is just really good. And not making excuses for the team, but I like the fact that even today, like if this team gets down, you always know they're going to come back.
I'll tell you what a game like today can do is, the guys seem to be buying in anyway, but a game like today, and now if we can add on top of that and beat Arlington tomorrow, or even if we lose to Arlington, go on the road and beat ODU, they could really start having a lot of confidence, because you beat a team like Toledo that, it's projected to do a lot of the good things. It can help the buy-in even more. And, we're well conditioned. We play a lot of players. I don't think we're the most talented team out there. We do have some talent. I think we're more talented than what people thought we were going to be. And I don't know. I like the way we play together so far. I like how we just don't give up. I like Schwartz's attitude. He seems like a very likable guy. He seems like the players play good for him. And I'll tell you an interesting fact. Somebody told me, and I won't say who, Joe Dooley actually said that Coach Schwartz was a good coach and it was a good hire. So that was interesting to hear. So,
yeah, it's not we've said along, it's not a matter that Schwartz is a bad coach. And I'll tell you one thing that impressed me. Kyle, you're going to find this interesting. I don't know if you know this. Bubba probably does, but Coach Schwartz told his players that he will never cuss at them in practice or in a game. I just found that that's just bizarre. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like, think about all the coaches you've been around, whether you played for them, whether you've.
Well, I think it's just some people just don't, like Bubba doesn't cuss. I think some people just don't cuss, and I really don't think it's I cuss like a sailor. I don't really think it speaks to your character whether you cuss or don't cuss. I think perhaps for some young men, particularly of today's mindset, that everybody seems to be extra sensitive, that perhaps having a coach that doesn't cuss at you maybe could pay dividends. If he's, I'm sure he coaches them hard, but maybe it makes the players feel like that he respects them more, and because of that, they respect him and play hard for him.
Taking a look at some of the post-game notes from today's matchup, Pirates scored a season-high 54 points in the second half. That's the most points they'd scored in either half. Led by 13 at the midpoint of the first half, as I mentioned, but then trailed 32-31 at halftime. Toledo went on an 18-0, then 21-2 run. So that's remarkable if you think about it, to allow the other team to go on an 18-0 run and then win the game by double figures and actually be up by 15 at one point. Javon Small scored 24 points in today's game, following up yesterday's 27-point effort, and that's his third 20-point game of the season. And listen to these numbers for Javon Small. He's averaging, I think, 21.5 a game, 4.6 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game.
Wow.
So, it's unbelievable what Javon Small is doing. And I know last year he's playing behind Tristan Newton and Tremont Robinson-White and some very good guards. But
he's better than Robinson-Wright. Tremont Robinson-Wright, I'm sorry.
It's unbelievable what he's doing. Brandon Johnson posting a third straight double-double, and we'll go over those numbers specifically here in a few minutes when we go over the individual scoring. But unbelievable start to his 22-23 season. And then, as we already mentioned, Toledo was ranked 32nd in the AP and the coaches polls.
I wish they could have been 25. When's the last time we beat a top 25 team?
It would have to be. Would that be Bill Harrion days?
No. Well, I don't know. It may be. That's a good question. Now that I bring it up,
I don't know that we did under Lee.
Hey, think back. A lot of people forget about it because of the COVID season. In the COVID season,
Houston.
There were tens of people there to see it, but we beat number 5 Houston.
That's right. I forgot about that. All about that.
Me too, because I was there, but it was very eerie because that's a game that you would think that the students would run,
Yeah, and they would have if they would have been allowed.
I know. I just say, it was so weird. It was almost like a scrimmage and not a real game,
Brian Bailey talked about how odd it was. He said, you just beat the number 5 team in the country, and I think we won by 8 to 10 points. I mean, it wasn't that close. I mean, they were in the waning seconds. Yes, it was close for the majority of the game, but there in the final 2 or 3 minutes, we really pulled away where we didn't have to sweat it out as we often do. And he said, as the buzzer sounded, and they went and shook hands and just walked off to the locker room like it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
those 2020 was weird. That whole, I don't even want to think about it.
In the last year, they really, they turned it on us early and never looked back. So they had that game, as we talk all the time in football, they had that game circled, guys. That was one of the worst games we had last year with the last season with Dooley.
No doubt. And looking at the individual scoring, some of the top scores in this one, both for the Pirates as well as the Toledo Rockets. Javon Small, 24 points, 7 assists, 3 out of 4 from 3, 9 out of 10 from the charity stripe. R.J. Felton, another tremendous game for R.J. 14 points, 4 out of 6 from 3. And then Brandon Johnson, like I mentioned, the third of 3 straight double-doubles.
That's consistency.
And Brandon had 14 points and 10 rebounds. Shoemate led the way for Toledo with 25, Dennis 21, and Milner Jr. also scored in double figures with 11.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, you go ahead, Kyle.
What do we know about UT Arlington tomorrow? I know. Seems like are they Southland? Seems like they're a race. Or no, are they Sun? One time they were Sunbelt. What conference are they in?
Sunbelt, are they?
I believe they have moved on from the Sunbelt, but
are they in the Valley? Are they in the Southland?
I thought they were still okay.
I think the Sunbelt might have got rid of non-football teams.
Yeah, I'll confirm that as far as what league they're in. But a little about UTA. They are 3-3 after today's win over a solid Northern Kentucky club that just actually beat Cincinnati. And I think that victory, the NKU and that regional rivalry, as they're of course just across the river from Cincinnati, that win over the Bearcats may have even been by 10 or more. But they defeated NKU today 60-57, and that is their first win over Division I opponents.
Wow.
But they have played a tough schedule. As far as their D1 opponents are concerned, they started the year with Oklahoma State, lost by 11, 77-66. Then they had a couple of blowout wins by 40+ against D3 opponents, and then they lost to Nevada 62-43, and to Drexel out of the CAA 59-38. So really, outside of that Oklahoma State game, their games against Division I competition had not been all that competitive. So I was a bit surprised they defeated Northern Kentucky today. With them, you look at those point totals. Today they scored 60, but 38, 43, 66. seemingly a contrast of styles between them and us. We're averaging right around 80 points a game. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow at 1:30 to see how that one plays out. And an interesting nugget, Riley Davis, a member of Mike Schwartz's staff, spent the last 3 or 4 years on that UTA staff.
Yeah, I remember that now that you said that when we hired him. I remember looking at his background and seeing I think he was the first assistant he hired.
That's correct.
So,
and Riley's a very good recruiter. That's why Schwartz brought him in.
So what stats? So what conference are they in, Bubba? Did you ever look that up? Because I'm damn
Well,
curious.
I was reading off those numbers. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, I thought they were still. That's what I thought they were in the Sun Belt. Weston
Conference
Myers.
realignment, man. Conference realignment. They may be in the WAC now. The WAC was adding a bunch of schools. They were trying to bring back football at the FCS level, and I don't know if that's going to happen now because they had some schools end up going to what's going to be the new Conference USA. So I don't know. But Bubba's going to find out that this is interesting information. If it's our opponent tomorrow, it would be nice to know what conference they're playing. But then after that one, guys, Saturday you travel up to Norfolk to take on the Monarchs of Old Dominion, and I believe that's another one that's on Flow Sports or no, Flow's they're out of the CAA, they're out of Conference USA, they're in the Sun Belt, so that one will be on ESPN Plus.
I thought this may have been the case, but I was not 100%. And as Justin Butts just chimed in as well, saying UT Arlington is in the wacky whack.
I was right. I said the WAC also. That's what I said. They may have joined the WAC because the WAC was adding a bunch of teams.
Yes.
So
crack is whack.
New Mexico State had dominated that league for years, and now they're leaving it to go to CUSA because for football reasons. So anyway, so we're playing a team from the WAC tomorrow, and then as I said, Old Dominion on Saturday from the Sun Belt.
And Charles,
what time is that Old Dominion game Saturday? Is that do we get
7:00?
So okay, so if we win the football game, we can all be happy and watch the basketball game.
And I have a little news there for Pirate Nation as far as who will be on the call for the basketball game. Scott Rogers. So earlier this evening, Scooter and I were exchanging a few text messages, and more specifically about baseball. And he will be back as the voice of the Pirates this year in baseball. And he said he's also doing the ODU basketball game on the men's side, and he'll be doing some women's games as well in basketball.
So he's doing the radio broadcast for us, filling in for Jeff Charles.
Yes, because obviously Jeff will be in Philadelphia.
I thought for a minute I thought he was doing the ESPN Plus broadcast. I was like, really, for ODU? That's interesting. But you're talking about filling in for Jeff.
Yes, filling in for Jeff since he'll be on the call for football.
Cool. Yeah, Charles. By the way, Charles says that the Ken Palm has ECU in the 190s. I was wondering about that, and UNT Arlington in the 300s.
Well, for what that's worth, it should. I wonder what the spread is, guys. The line should be out. Well, it might not come out till tomorrow. I don't know, but it's not that it matters. But
since you brought up lines today. Honestly, before the game was played, I had not even checked the line.
They were a 10-point dog, I believe.
We were 11.5-point dog.
Yep.
And obviously ended up almost covering that ourselves as far as obviously we covered, but we about
double the spread.
We nearly won by 12.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that don't happen in football in reverse this week.
Don't say that.
Just like last week, I'm not talking about our game, but South Carolina, they were
a
21.5 point
they were,
dog, and then beat Tennessee by 25.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
No, they did not. I know I did not.
And then also Johnny Robertson chiming in on Facebook as well. JR says last season through 5 games, the Pirates were plus 66 in the first half and minus 22 in the second half. This season, they're minus 27 in the first half and plus 65 in the second half. Great stuff there. And
thank you, JR.
That's definitely
appreciate you computing those numbers for us.
That's definitely a comment on the condition of this basketball team. They seem to be extremely well conditioned. They seem to play a lot of players. I'm not the biggest basketball fan in the world. I'm not. I know much more about football and baseball than I do basketball, but do we seem to play more players than most teams do, or is that just me?
We played 12 today.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's usually 8 to 9 usually.
And as the season wears on, I don't expect that to continue necessarily.
If it's working, don't change it.
At least not in certain games. My point is, and here early on, he's seeing what rotations work and what certain guys can do. I think we will probably end up playing more than most, and we'll see. I think we may have done that, but going back to the first few games. But I'll bring up the box score and see who played how many minutes today. Outside some of the guys we've already mentioned.
I think it helps to tire people out in the second half when you're constantly bringing in fresh bodies. If there's a huge significant drop off in talent, I think it helps tire the other team out because they're playing against fresh guys.
I think they're trying to find out the right combo of players, but yeah, I do think that another thing too, guys, is to mention. Kyle's talked about it a lot. Is the transfer portal, and you know how that's hurt us so many years. Over so many years, it's hurt our basketball program, and I think there's a lot of talent on the team, so they want to keep them happy. I think it's a lot of factors, but you're right, Kyle. When you have the talent, use it.
Yeah, you look at Tristan Newton, not Tristan Newton. I'm sorry, the kid from Boston College,
Winston Tabbs.
If he can ever get back healthy and get back in the flow of the game, be what he was at BC, you put him with Small and Felton and Brandon. I mean, the potential's there.
And I love Caleb LeCount. I think he's a great player, and I know the size. But hey, Bubba, what about like Muggsy Bogues? Like with Caleb LeCount, it's like what 5'7".
Is that the kid from Los Angeles?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
So looking at today's box score, Brandon Johnson played 20, Quentin DeBouge 27, Javon Small 37, R.J. Felton 24, David Kasanganai 9, and those were your starting five. David Kasanganai, he got back-to-back starts the last 2 days, which speaks to the energy and also shooting ability that he's brought. Valentino Pinedo played 9. Ezra Osar played 8. Luigi DeBow played 5. Benjamin Bayela played 11. Caleb LeCount 14. Jaden Walker 30. And Winston Tabbs 6. So you did have 12 guys play. 7 of those 12 played in excess of 11 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the others played anywhere from 6 to 9. So I do think with Coach Schwartz, the way we want to play defensively and a more up-tempo style, that instead of playing 7, 8 guys, I do think you're going to probably see 10 or 11 most games. But I think you'll see probably about 8 guys play the bulk of the minutes, and then those other 2 or 3, 4 guys play anywhere from 5 to 10 like they did tonight.
I like the fact that when you look at our non-conference schedule, I love the South Carolina game in Greenville, South Carolina. It's fun to have a big name non-conference opponent like that on the schedule. It gives you, particularly if we keep winning, it really gives you a game to look forward to before conference play.
That's a very winnable game.
Yes.
The Gamecocks have struggled here early on. They are off to a 2-3 start, and then they had a 2-point loss to Clemson on a buzzer beater. A 2-point victory over Clemson. So that's one of their 2 wins. They lost by 32 to Colorado State down in the Charleston Classic. Then they lost by 19 to Furman. Furman's been solid, and then you also had Davidson beat them 69-60. So
they played a tough schedule.
Their losses have come against quality competition. And then they had, in addition to the 2-point win on the buzzer beater over Clemson, they had a 3-point win over South Carolina State, who is also on the Pirates schedule. And that is coming out of this tournament. You mentioned going to Old Dominion Saturday, and then the Pirates will play South Carolina State on November 29th at 7 o'clock.
It's next Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm even thinking about driving to Norfolk. It's only 2 hours from my house to watch that ODU game. I love that CAA rivalry from back in the day. So we'll see if we can make that trip happen. That will be a lot of fun. And tickets are not too expensive, so not too bad.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's always fun to play the Monarchs, and particularly in basketball. And so it'd be nice to go up to Norfolk to I don't know what the hell the name of the arena is now.
I believe it's at least it used to be. I think maybe it has a corporate sponsor now. It used to be the Ted Constant Convocation Center.
You know what? I'm not sure if it's not Town Bank, Bubba. But now that you say that, I know that's where they're located. So the corporate offices are in Norfolk. So either way, get a chance to beat ODU on the road.
And Charles, once again, chiming in on Facebook, brings up Quentin DeBouget, and he believes that he has a very high ceiling and will be a player. And I agree, Charles. Love what I've seen out of Quentin to date.
No question. And also the fact I like Coach Schwartz, the fact that he's recruiting, wants to recruit local kids. He's putting a strong emphasis on
Smart
252 and the North Carolina, like the state and region. And there's a lot of good basketball in a gas tank away in any direction. So
yeah. If we're ever going to be successful here, even if it's from the portal, I've always said that we've got to be able to recruit Eastern North Carolina kids, and it's something we have not been able to do. And we got to start doing it.
That's one of the most encouraging things about this team. I mean, if we were off to this start, no matter what, it would be exciting. But to me, when you see just there's so much youth and inexperience, and for us to be doing the things that we're doing with such an inexperienced roster and guys that haven't played together, that's remarkable. And there were so many unknowns coming into the season, and we were like, where are the points going to come from? And then you have Javon Small averaging 21.5 points a game, and then Brandon Johnson averaging a double-double. That's not as surprising because we had seen a larger sample size of Brandon, but he wore down a bit during the American portion of the schedule last year, which was not surprising, but we certainly knew what he was capable of. But this with Javon Small, we knew he was talented, and he just didn't have the opportunity to show it as much last year, but he's developed himself physically and gotten a lot stronger, worked on his game, and had the opportunity to show what he can do. And boy, has he through 5 ball games.
Yeah, nice surprise for sure. RJ Felton, we felt good about him. It's gonna be a lot of fun this season, especially we'll see how we do the second half of the stretch, if you will, for the non-conference and the American, and how we do there. It's gonna be great. I can't wait, no doubt about it. And we have some. Do we have any other scores, Bubba, before we get out of here?
We do. I'll go to the scoreboard here in just a moment. Before we do that, very quickly wanted to run over the team stats. I realized I had not done that for today's ball game against Toledo. Again, the Pirates victorious 86-75 over the 32nd ranked Rockets. East Carolina shot 47.5% from the floor, 28 out of 59, 12 out of 25, scorching 48% from three. 18 out of 22, right at 82% from the charity stripe. They out-rebounded Toledo 35-23, 15 assists for the Pirates, 7 for Toledo, and East Carolina had 12 turnovers while Toledo had 10.
What jumps out to me on that is the rebounds and the free throws.
Yeah, and not only that, but Bubba, how many times we talked about, look at that three-point shooting, 48%.
That's great too.
I mean, that, the rebound, I didn't know the rebound differential was so much different there, Bubba. And how about the assist, like 2-1 there? So that's impressive. But the
rebounds to me, and again, I'm not a basketball guy, but to me, rebounds are one of the most important part of the game, because you get a chance to get a second shot and you get a chance to eliminate second shots. And I've always thought teams that rebounded well or win more ball games. I mean, I guess it's a dumb thing to say, but it's pretty obvious. But I don't. When I watch basketball, that's one thing that always annoys the crap out of me is when I see a team not hustling on rebounds.
And something that was awesome to see about those 12 made threes, guys, is it's not like you had one guy knock down 8 or 9. And you look at it, Javon Small, 3 of 4. R.J. Felton, 4 out of 6. Quentin Abunje, 3 for 6. And then Jaden Walker, the Iowa State transfer, he was 5 out of 6 from the floor and also 2 out of 2 from 3.
Yeah.
And Jaden was just a rebound shy of a double-double as he had 12 points and 9 rebounds.
Nice.
So I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Jaden offensively. He didn't do much scoring at Iowa State, and perhaps he didn't need to. He was on a team that went to the Sweet 16, so maybe his role there for the Cyclones was more on the defensive end and pulling down rebounds, which he did very well. But he's showing that he can score. And I made a note early in the game today, he had a steal and a dunk, and then I think it was the ensuing possession, knocked down a 3 as the Pirates built that 23-10 first half lead.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's we appreciate everybody for Charles and Johnny. Thank you so much, Justin, Weston, everybody for tuning in. In fact, I've been enjoying the Flow Sports. In fact, they had a cool thing, guys. I forgot the title of it, but basically what they did at halftime, if you missed any of the game, they had it all packaged together, kind of like they do for football games after the fact, where they cut all the commercials out and everything. So they had the whole first half in that length of, what is it, about 18 or 20 minutes?
No, that's way too expensive. $30 a month is ridiculous. ESPN Plus, which gives you so much more than Flow Sports, is nowhere near that price. They're out of their minds charging $30 a month, and they really take advantage of leagues that have contracts with them, like the Colonial. They kind of have them, dead to rights. I mean, if you're a fan of a Colonial school and you got to pay those subscription prices to see your team play, I think it's $200 a year or $30 a month. And
that's correct.
That's insanity. You're obviously, if you're a fan of a school that's contracted through them instead of ESPN Plus, you're obviously going to do the year subscription. But man, I couldn't. There's no way I could pay $30 just to watch this tournament.
I did.
Yeah,
well, we also have the Wilmington game too, so we get 4 games for $30 basically.
And Dave, before we go to the scoreboard, we had David Hackney chiming in on Facebook. I appreciate you tuning in and chiming in, David. He says, is Winston Tabb still recovering from knee surgery? I was expecting him to get more playing time. Yes. They were pleasantly surprised. They were actually not expecting him to play as early as he was, but him getting 5 to 10, maybe 12 minutes, that is part of him developing that endurance and making sure things are progressing the way they need to with his knee, not playing him too much time and extended minutes here early on. And then Richard Allsbrook says, can a basketball parent Facebook live stream our game tomorrow?
I don't think Flow Sports is going to like that too much. Yeah, but that would be cool.
John Packard, can you catch a flight to Fort Myers and get down to Estero? And
is Cy there? Cy didn't make the trip out, did he?
I'll text Michael Perry. Say, hey, Michael. This
may cause you to lose your Cy to do it.
This may cause you to lose your job, but
that's why I was wondering if Cy was there, so Cy might do it. But
yeah, it doesn't hurt us. I mean, it doesn't hurt us at all. As far as it's not like an ESPN Plus kind of thing. So,
but great comment there, Richard, and we appreciate you. Appreciate the humor.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. We got the answer right here. Dave we can just do a live broadcast, and Dave can just show us the live stream from Flow Sports right here on the Sports Objective.
He says, "Say no to Flow."
For sure.
What do you think, Dave? You want to do that? You think we get taken down?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how that works.
See?
I don't know, but
Before
definitely not
we
going
get
to
out of here, wanted to go to the scoreboard. We'll go ahead and go over the scores from the American from the last 2 days. So many teams playing in these
Dave,
tournaments.
just give everybody your password real fast for Flow Sports so we can all log in and watch at the same time.
Yeah, no comment. Bubba, right? No comment.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you off here, Kyle.
yeah,
Okay.
Cincinnati's playing out in Maui Invitational. And it seems weird. I believe this actually is taking place in Maui rather than Asheville, North Carolina, or another location like it has in the last couple of years with COVID. But Cincinnati lost yesterday to number 14 Arizona, 101-93. So a shootout there with Pac-12 foe Arizona. You had Wichita State defeating Grand Canyon 55-43. Nevada took down Tulane 75-66. UAB defeated South Florida 80-65, and St. John's beat Temple 78-72. Moving on to today's action, you had Cincinnati fail once again, and just bear with me here as my.
Sorry, Bubba.
Going
People
crazy.
want scores. There's plenty of places to get them.
Yep. But,
Ohio in football. Ohio is about to clinch the MAC East title. They're leading Bowling Green 38-14 as we speak on ESPNU. So long as Ohio holds on here, as they appear they're going to, they're going to win the MAC East.
In Cincinnati's matchup today was.
And by the way, they just held on. I did not look at the clock. That's the end of the game.
Cincinnati's matchup today was in-state battle against Ohio State, but it wasn't much of a battle. It was 81-53 Buckeyes. Tulane got a nice win against Rhode Island out of the A-10, 78-75. South Florida defeated St. Joe's out of the A-10, 75-62. Down in Daytona Beach at the Sunshine Slam. Richmond of the A-10 defeated Temple at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That is the Vivid Seats Empire Classic. It was the Spiders 61, the Owls 49.
Yeah, I can tell you what happened there. I watched last night. Temple played late against St. John's and should have won that game. And lost the heartbreaker to St. John's and just came out flat.
Oh, man.
And so our buddy Ryan Wallen with Al's Daily on Temple's 24/7 sports site, he will be with us tomorrow night for the Pirate preview of this weekend's matchup at Lincoln Financial. And a couple other scores: San Francisco out of the West Coast Conference 67, Wichita State 63. That is a final. And then the only other game is in progress, 56 seconds remaining, as the Louisiana Raging Cajuns are leading SMU 67-64.
Interesting scores. I tell you, obviously top heavy with Houston, but so far, listen to the American scoreboard. Based on what we've seen so far, I think we can compete with a lot of these schools.
Hey, by the way, B. Pace has a great point he has on Facebook. In fact, I was wondering about that Pace, so it's funny that you brought that up. It's the first time we have a chance for a winning record and attorney since that CIT season's 2013.
That's interesting. Well, hopefully we get it. We go 2-1 and take care of business against UT Arlington tomorrow.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Pace. It may have actually been the 13-14 season. It was
second year. Yeah.
Pace was it was when we played Norfolk State, and I'm trying to remember who else we beat. But tell us who those opponents were, Pace.
He said we went
through
season in IT.
Yeah, and that loss was a very competitive loss to Duke. Remember that Prince Williams went off and had a big night.
In fact, Duke barely won that game, in Cameron. I remember that very, very well. So we have we'll see how everything plays out. And by the way, good luck to the Pirates on Saturday. As you mentioned, Bubba will have the Pirate preview. And then we have a lot of other great programming. In fact, There it is. Norfolk, Duke, McNeese, and UNC Asheville. Yeah, wow. Time is flying as it pays. You're the man. Thank you for that. It was funny because I was thinking about today about how we were 1-1 and how would we fare in this tournament. So thank you, Pays. You bailed me out here and you didn't even realize it. So
What time's the game tomorrow, guys? We've talked about the game 100 times. What time is it?
1:30
1:30 p.m. So it's another afternoon game
on Flow Sports.
on Amp Flow Sports. And
1079 or 94.3. All you have to do is go to their website.
Go to the Tune. You can still get it on the TuneIn app, guys.
Yeah,
Go to the
or
TuneIn app and TuneIn app and type in 94.3 the game, and the broadcast come right up.
There you go. All right. Well, good luck to the Pirates tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. And of course, we'll have our Pirate preview, as we mentioned, with Ryan Wallen. Pirates on the road on Saturday, and Philly taking on the Temple Owls. So, man, Coach Houston was definitely not in a good mood today at the press conference, as you can tell.
Definitely not. If you haven't had a chance to go watch Mike Houston's press conference today, do yourself a favor and go watch it. He was very, very intense and kind of in a pissy mood. Lou Diamond Phillips just got mad at me on Twitter. He's a UT Arlington alum.
And he went too hard with a meme.
How do you piss off Lou Diamond Phillips? I mean, you pissed off Lou Diamond Phillips. I mean, good God. I mean, you're talking about Young Guns 2, La Bamba. I mean,
La Bamba. Yeah.
Richie Valens himself and Chavez in the Young Guns movies.
Yeah. Pays is like that, you know. He's like, he's a celebrity, so he's got to have all the, you know.
Love Chavez in the Young Guns movies.
Yeah, he pissed off Richie Valens. Pace said that.
He pissed off Richie Valens. That well, again, La Bamba's great, but I'm such a Young Guns fan. I always think of him more as Chavez.
Hey, it's good stuff too. Good movies there back in the day. We're gonna have fun, and hopefully we can talk about a Pirate victory as we get ready for that. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how. Oh wow. Oh man, Pays. Oh man,
what do you come up with?
I put a meme that had his mugshot in it. Wow.
Okay. I didn't realize that Lou Diamond Phillips had gotten in legal trouble.
Yeah, that would make anyone. I don't think that would make anybody too happy. But anyway, Pays is the man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Kyle, Bubba, do you have anything before we go?
Good luck to the Pirates tomorrow against Arlington and against Temple in football, obviously, and hopefully we'll have 2 wins coming up here.
Check out Coach Connor's conversation on absolute empowerment via our YouTube channel or anywhere podcasts are found. He had an unbelievable conversation with former East Carolina assistant and then college football coaching veteran, Indianapolis Colts head coach Chuck Pagano. Also, as we said, join us tomorrow for Pirate Preview with Ryan Wallen of Owls Daily, and then we'll have our other programming throughout.
Ryan Wallen's a good dude. Unlike a lot of people from some schools that we've had on through the years, Ryan Wallen always is a hell of a nice guy and very level-headed. And
with it being Thanksgiving week, we probably will not have the inside slant on Thursday, of course, but really looking forward to the Egg Bowl matchup. Always enjoy watching that. This year it's taking place in Oxford. It'll be interesting to see if Lane Kiffin and the Rebels are able to bounce back against Mississippi State. What's the latest with Kiffin? Mike Leach is looking to avoid going 0-3 in the Egg Bowl. And yes, it was funny on social media. There was a report, I don't remember the reporter's name, but somewhere there in the state of Mississippi saying that he just said sources, is often the case in this day and age of social media. He just said sources that Lane Kiffin is going to be taking the Auburn job on Friday, and Lane Kiffin quote tweeted it. He said, "Interesting." It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why would you go to Auburn? No, well, from one standpoint, I could understand it. Maybe eventually the Ole Miss fans are going to get tired of him not winning the West. But he does win games, so you can stay ahead of the fire.
but it doesn't make a lot of sense to leave Ole Miss for Auburn.
No, and if it was like Alabama or Georgia, then you would understand like what happens when Saban retires. Who do they hire? If they throw a lot of money at Lane Kiffin, I'm not saying that's the case, but if they didn't.
And I meant to upload this picture, but like Pays mentions, he said he also tweeted that the reporter was going to the rival TV station. So
that's awesome.
Great job there, and Lane Kiffin's a must follow.
That's all. I can't stand Lane Kiffin, but that's awesome.
That's really funny, and we'll see how it plays out. Same way with Deion Sanders. Where is he going to go?
You know what? I think Deion.
Colorado and South Florida have been
Colorado doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, that would be. I mean, not that he couldn't do well there. That just seemed odd, but
South Florida definitely seems.
Tell me, Coach Prime being in the American at South Florida, that wouldn't add some intrigue.
He would do well recruiting. I don't know how good of an X's and O coach he is. He would depend on his staff, him coaching at this level, but he definitely can recruit his ass off. I think Deion Sanders, South Florida, makes some sense.
Yeah, I don't think Nebraska. That was another team that.
I don't.
That makes sense at all.
It doesn't make any sense. But
and to Pace's point, what I would find very interesting. Not only do I think he would significantly. There in the state of Florida, and just that reputation, his personality,
very charming.
Not only the talent that he could bring in, but I would be very intrigued to see how he would impact the gate. South Florida,
yeah,
for the most part, with the exception of a handful of games here and there. When they were ranked number 2 in the country, and like during that stretch under Jim Leavitt, they don't draw very well at all. But with the hiring of a Deion Sanders, I can imagine, a lot of people that are not necessarily South Florida fans coming to the game because of the intrigue of Deion.
Depending on how much success he has early, there's not a lot. They're not a very good football team. I don't know how much talent's there. You would figure Deion could work the transfer portal pretty good, so he may be able to bring in talent right away. I think it would depend a lot on his staff. It's a big step up.
Yep.
It's a big step up from coaching at Jackson State than it is to coach in the American. Especially when he has FBS talent at Jackson State. They're just more talented than everybody else because of his recruiting ability. So if he can put together a good staff with his ability to recruit, name recognition, that could work for South Florida.
I believe it was for Travis Hunter, the cornerback that he got to decommit. He was headed to Florida State.
Yeah, he would probably be headed to Tampa.
Yeah, Pace says he has Mike Zimmer on his staff now.
There you go. So
the fact that he has the fact that with Neon Deion with primetime, I tell you the thing about me that I'm thinking about, guys, is it makes perfect sense for many reasons. And one, let's face it, their coaching hires they made recently at South Florida have not worked out in recent times. The last couple of coaches, so. It may not work out if they hire him. It may still not work out, but at least they would definitely get a really buzz kind of hire that after Coach Scott, I think they really need to do something like that.
He would draw a lot of attention to the program, and again, it would be to me his staff, but in terms of his ability to recruit, he'd get players there. And like I said, to me, it would be interesting how well could he work the transfer portal. That would be incredibly, because probably hasn't had to do that a lot at Jackson State, but it'd be interesting to see coming in year one, just Deion Sanders in the transfer portal. You get a phone call from Deion, you're going to listen to him.
Yeah, they're undefeated right now, 11-0.
Yeah, I know. 11-0. Yeah, exactly. And the sponsorship money will increase for UCF. Yeah, no kidding. Tampa's a big market, so lots of chance for corporate sponsorships, and you get Deion Sanders in there. It probably increases immediately, and also NIL deals. You get Deion Sanders in there, he'll probably be able to, get some local businesses in the Tampa St. Pete area to invest in the program. And like I said, he would be a problem from a recruiting standpoint for sure.
No doubt about it, and they play in a great stadium. So,
but you want to me, you want the American to be as good as it can. I mean, we're losing quality teams. So if South Florida could rise up, I'm not scared of that. We got to maintain being good. and continue to improve. We need South Florida to rise up. We need them to be good. We need Tulane to continue to be good. I look for Willie Frisk.
Memphis.
I look for Willie Frisk to go to Georgia Tech. Honestly, I don't know who their candidates are, but we need Tulane to continue to be good. We need UTSA as they come in the league to continue to be good.
Memphis.
And Memphis, yeah, we need them to step it back up.
They were good.
Yeah. We need South Florida to be UCF. Yeah, to a point. I'd like for ECU to be UCF, but I think
I know what you mean, Pace.
I think South Florida. They've done it before. They need an on-campus stadium, and I think Dion could also help get that done.
Yeah, you remember back, like I mentioned, when they were ranked second in the country, playing up at Rutgers.
Yep, the old Big East days. But
yeah, they've got they have such a great market that they could, with the right hire, like you said, with the coaches, they could definitely have the potential to turn things around. We'll have to wait and see. And another person I've heard for that job, I don't know the last couple of weeks, but Scott Frost.
I wouldn't hire Scott Frost. I don't know, man. I heard he basically just quit at Nebraska. But what was I going to say? I had you made me lose my train of thought, Dave.
Sorry,
somebody that I would look at if I was South Florida, in addition to Deion Sanders, would be Kendall Browse at Arkansas, their OC.
He's definitely an up and comer. And what about where did Garrett Riley go? Garrett
Riley's the OC at TCU. His name's coming up for the Colorado job. I'd like for Garrett to stay at TCU as OC for now.
And Pace was talking about FAU. Do you think they'll have money coming in, being in Boca Raton?
I don't know, man. I don't even know what's FAU done this year. How are they? Are they going to a bowl? I mean, they got
I'll double check. I think last I saw, I think they were 5-5.
I was going to say
maybe 6-5 now. I'm not sure.
What's his face is their head coach? The guy that was at South Florida before, and
Willie
at Florida
Taggart.
State, Willie Taggart. Yeah. So I don't know. Taggart's underachieved at FAU a bit. Kind of thought he would do well there.
Speaking of a Florida guy that can recruit Florida.
Yeah. And they got a nice stadium in Boca. I don't think anybody gives a damn, but they have a nice stadium.
They are 5-6, and they are playing. They're playing Western Kentucky.
And so much for bowl eligibility.
Yeah. Western Kentucky's Western Kentucky's a 7-point road favorite. Obviously, with FAU needing to win to become bowl eligible.
Yeah, Western Kentucky's pretty good. That guy's a good coach. That's one of the oh God, help me out, Bubba. The family there, the guy that used to be at Houston, the guy
Helton.
Yeah, that's one of the Helton brothers. And
Tyson Helton, I think.
Yeah, Tyson Helton. He's done a good job at Western Kentucky.
And so they're in the NCUSA. You have them at 7-5. You have UTSA, another stellar season. They're at 9-2, and odds are they'll get.
Western is already 7-5, or do you mean 7-4?
It says 7-5. I'm looking.
Why did they play Hawaii?
They played Hawaii. They beat Hawaii 49-17.
Okay, so did everybody else. Hawaii's horrible, but
I can't believe that Hawaii won 3 games. I know one was over Duquesne, but they actually they must have at least shown a little improvement because the way they were playing early on, I didn't think they would beat anybody.
Well, it was a dumb hire to hire I don't care what he was to your program. They hired the wide receivers coach from Nevada to be their head coach. Is what they did. And I don't care if Timmy Chang was their quarterback or not. They hired that would be like if we hired Magazoo because he's secondary coach at UNLV to be our head coach. It's the same damn thing.
They have owned the state of Nevada this year. They beat UNLV 31-25, and they beat Nevada 31-16.
Well, he made sure when he went back to Nevada, he at least took care of business.
Yep. Well, guys, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But keep it right here for all the latest what's going on with ECU sports and beyond. And certainly we'll let you know anything. If we hear anything, maybe we'll see how things play out with a bowl situation.
Seems to be a lot of talk of Fenway. I don't know if we win. Seems like Fenway may be the likely destination. We have made it clear to the conference that we do not want to go to the Military Bowl, so it will likely be Fenway. If we win, if we lose, it could be anywhere from Fenway to Myrtle Beach to Boca Raton to Orlando to the Cure Bowl. But it sounds like Fenway, if we win against Temple, that the Fenway Bowl wants us. So
Please come to Boston.
yeah,
All right.
not my choice. I'd rather go to Myrtle Beach. I'd love to play Appalachian in Myrtle Beach. I'd love to beat Temple, still go to Myrtle Beach, and App beat Georgia Southern. I'd love to see us get revenge on App for last year.
That would be
And you'd have a sold out stadium.
yeah, Pace. I don't they don't want to go to the Military
Yeah,
Bowl.
we're not going to the Military Bowl. John Gilbert has made it. Unless the conference makes us, we're not going to the Military Bowl. Not going to happen. Gilbert has made it abundantly clear privately and now publicly. Was it on Patrick Johnson's show? That,
It was on the pregame show on Saturday.
Okay.
Bud Light game, I guess it is, on 94.3 The Game on Saturday. He had an interview with, and they played it again on this morning before the pregame for the basketball game today, the win over Toledo. So,
and he stated that we did not want to go to the Military Bowl. And I've heard from behind the scenes, he stated it even more, with more vigor than that, that we didn't want to go to the Military Bowl again this year. So it sounds like if we win, I hope you guys like cold weather in Boston. By the way, and somebody needs to check this, we'll get the hell out of here. We'll have it for the next episode. I believe that's like the last place bowl for the ACC. So I want to make sure the ACC is going to fill that spot, because I do not want to end up playing UConn in the Fenway Bowl.
oh. Yeah, ticket sales would not be good for that game.
No, and you talk about a team that's overachieved, and it would be playing in their elements. So that would be very advantageous for a UConn upset.
Yeah, B-Pays. That's
I would like that. ECU Duke to Fenway would be great.
That would be a good one. Good matchup, I think, for sure. All right. So again, Pirates win today. Thanks for everybody listening and watching Pirate Basketball Overtime. And it's right here on the Sports Objective. Thank you, Kyle, Bubba, as well. Let's get out of here. You've been watching it right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.
Put your crossbones up and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on. Yeah. Welcome to the island, man. It's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank on the shark tank. Traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. And go Pirates!